as well. Kiewit, to my understand, the contracts for the construction, Kiewit, in the contract with Kiewit, when they're doing construction for this project, isn't Kiewit have its own public relations of its own expenditure in the contract?
They have a staff person who actually also does do some of the activities around the construction for Kiewit specifically, but they're not responsible for, and ultimately won't be responsible for, anybody but Kiewit. I'm ultimately responsible to you and to the public.
If I can interject, where's the construction going on outside of Kiewit? If there's phase one, Kiewit's on phase one. Phase four isn't in construction.
Right.
So we have Kiewit doing the only construction for this rail. Why would you need anyone else to give notices when there's no construction going on outside of Kiewit's endeavor?
The person who's doing that work has responsibility for Kiewit. I have responsibility for the entire project. And what I need to have is the responsible parties who work for me to be able to be...
But there's no construction going on in phases 2, 3, and 4. Why would you need to have public relations or in good faith to be on your side and on your team? I just want to let you know, when they did the H3, they didn't have a public outreach team. They didn't have a 24-hour hotline. Anything that has to do when they shut down a runway over the international airport and they fly over my neck of the woods in Eva Beach, and people call up your elected officials and say, how come there's planes flying overhead 24/7? Where did the traffic come from? Guess what you do? You call the Department of Transportation and you talk to the current public relations personnel, one person. So there's nobody of an outreach for the airports. There's nobody in the outreach for harbors. There's nobody in outreach for highways. One person in the entire state network. And as far as I'm concerned, you add up all the monies going on in harbors, airports, and highways, they trump this rail project right now.
Well, actually, I respectfully disagree with you, sir.
You're telling me then that the federal government requires, at this juncture, at this stage, with the EIS done, you have to have this level of public outreach?
I would say two things. First of all, the short answer is yes. We absolutely have to keep engaging the public through the process.
Councilmember Berg, I just want to make sure it's in the minutes. I'm going to be voting for this resolution, but I disagree with the principle in the fact that this resolution allows members for HART to continue in the propaganda machine. It allows for HART to be able to be in control what they deem we need to be force-fed. My resolution 12-160 that I introduced puts a cease and desist on all public relations. It ends it here and now, today, if it were heard and passed, and it would give the director of HART, at his salary of $322,000 a year with all the perks, that he be the guy that answers the phone. And elected officials in the state legislature, both the Senate and the House that represent the area, the council person that represents the area, they go to the neighborhood board meeting, and this can be done for thousands of dollars, not millions of dollars. To say that there are 9.5 persons needed to promote and pitch and sell this propaganda machine, I'm still offended, members. I don't buy the fact that because the director wasn't clear. It wasn't answered in my letter. And when I went to the website and I looked at what the federal requisites are, that's during the alternative analysis. That's during the 106, section 106. That's during the EIS. At this stage of construction, the federal government merely says, tell people when you're breaking ground and you're going to close a lane of traffic. Obviously, that's all they have to do in HART. That's all they're tasked to do by the federal government. There is no necessity for public outreach, public relations. It's moot. It's not needed. It's not a requisite, members. It's not mandated. The federal government says, and you can look it up yourself in the letter that was given back to me that lists all the statutes with FTA, and it basically says, tell the people what you're doing in construction. Put an ad in the newspaper, get a website, and if we need to hire people to answer the phone at 2 in the morning, my goodness, put the thing on an answering machine mode. Someone will pick it up at 8 in the morning, hopefully. That's good enough for me. I don't need a warm body there. We can't afford to put toilet paper and soap in our comfort stations in our parks. And we're going to have a 24/7 manned HART line? Wow. This is really kapakahi, members. This is unacceptable. Thank you, Councilwoman Gabbard, for introducing the audit. The audit's desperately needed. But the director, the CEO, Mr. Grabowskis, he could actually come here today in good faith and say, I'll do the job. I have a full-time secretary. I have Scotty Shikawa in Hart, who's in public relations, very talented. We're going to do a website, and anytime there's construction with road lane closures, you name it, we'll put an ad in the paper, we'll go to the neighborhood board meetings, and we'll do what they do for highways, airports, and harbors. This 9.5 also includes proprietary information members that they won't disclose their salaries. Again, that's acting in bad faith. Mahalo.
Thank you.
That's why I just made a 70% cut in that department.